Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. Since that there were no questions today, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to do kind of like an extra, like a Prehistoric Facts extra. Is basically this: is that I'm actually going to talk about an exhibit that I actually went to last night. Is in the Science Museum of Minnesota, and it's called it's called Ultimate Dinosaurs, and I got to experience that. I think it's an amazing exhibit. I would recommend anybody to actually that is interested in dinosaurs or actually is just interested in going to the museum sometime. Please go to this exhibit. It is just amazing. I think it's just outstanding. I think it's got the great dinosaur skeletons that you have never seen before in your life, and also it has great facts, and also it has amazing an amazing exhibit. That's all I gotta say about that. I mean, it's just amazing. So what I'm actually going to tell you is this: even though it does cost, it does actually have to, because you have to pay for it. Of course, you actually have to go to the lobby, of course, to actually pay for it, and basically it's a $6 amount. But basically, if you're a member, then you actually get like $6 to actually go in, and but if you're not a member, it's actually going to be a little bit extra. But and of course, when you actually get in, it's because first off, they'll actually just talk about because the first thing you'll actually see is probably is basically like a film area where they actually show like a film of a documentary feature on some dinosaurs. It's probably dinosaurs of Dinosaurs Patagonia, the giant dinosaurs of Patagonia. So it'll probably be more like that. And then you actually get to an area, and then another film area where it actually shows you the time span of the time of the dinosaurs. It actually shows the Earth, basically what geologists and plate tectonics experts actually believe what Earth would have been like during the time of the beginning of the Triassic all the way down to today. So what it's actually going to show is it starts from Pangea, then it goes to basically to the Jurassic. You actually see the different areas of continents like Laurasia and Gondwana, and then you actually have to go into then it goes to the Cretaceous, where you actually see that Laurasia and Gondwana actually start separating, and so it'll be looking really interesting. And also, when you actually get to go to the part where it goes to 65 million years ago, it actually says dinosaurs going extinct, and then it goes into the age of mammals, and then when you actually get closer to 1 million years, when you get closer to 1 million years, you actually see the glaciers coming down North America, Europe, and some parts of Russia, and so it's very interesting. And then when you actually get inside this exhibit, you actually get to see the different say the pictures of kind of like models of what the Earth used to be like during the time of the dinosaurs. And then the first part of the exhibit of looking at skeletons is you go to the Triassic. You go to the Triassic, where dinosaurs are starting to evolve, start arriving in the world, and then because these are mainly going to be dinosaurs that actually are in the area of Gondwana. Dinosaurs that have been found in South America, Africa, Madagascar, Antarctica, and some parts of Australia too, and even India. India has actually some dinosaurs, but there's not too much Indian dinosaur. There's not really any Indian dinosaurs in this exhibit. So it actually starts with Herrerasaurus, and Herrerasaurus of course, I think is an amazing skeleton, to be honest with you. I think it's one of my favorite Triassic dinosaurs. And then you actually get then right next to that, as you go further along, is Pisanosaurus. I don't know that much about this dinosaur, but I think it's actually a really cool looking dinosaur. Even though it's really small, but you actually get to see a really cool looking dinosaur. Then next is Eoraptor, one of the oldest dinosaurs that's been found. I think it's a great skeleton. I'm just in awe of Eoraptor. I just love that guy. And then you get to a non-dinosaur called Prehistoric, Prehistoric is mainly an archosaur, which is basically not really a dinosaur. It's just mainly a reptile that's actually kind of like an ancestor to dinosaurs, but it's not real. But it's actually going to a different lineage than dinosaurs. So it's actually kind of moving towards like the crocodilian branch. And then you actually get to Cryolophosaurus. I think that dinosaur is so cool. I can actually say this. It's an amazing skeleton look at. It's going to be a medium-sized dinosaur, so it's not really that big. Because if you actually like stood side by side with this skeleton, you would actually think like, well, this dinosaur's as big as me. So, but it's as tall as me. So I mean, you can actually just. But even though it's actually a tad bit bigger, so it actually will be approximately about 7 feet tall, and it would actually be around 20 feet in length. So it's actually going to be a really cool looking dinosaur. And you get to see on display, where you see Cryolophosaurus, you get to see like the cast of what they found of the skull. And you can touch it. You can actually touch this thing because it's mainly going to be like resin, and it's kind of painted black and that kind of thing. So you can actually touch this thing, and you can actually see the crest on top of its head. And I think it's just amazing that you actually can touch this thing. I think it's just amazing, and all that. But not the real skeleton. You cannot touch the real skeleton. All right, you cannot touch the copy of the skeleton. It's mainly going to be a resin copy, more of a cast. So all these skeletons and bones that are actually there are actually just cast replicas. They're not the real bones. Putting up the real bones would be so expensive, and it would be incredibly delicately. You have to delicately put together. So it would actually be very, very hard to actually put these skeletons together if they were if they had the real fossils. And then you actually get into like the really big dinosaurs that actually are going to come about. Now, they do skip the Jurassic though, but even though the Jurassic dinosaur would actually be considered to be Cryolophosaurus. So that's the only Jurassic dinosaur that you actually get to see in this exhibit. But then when you actually get to the Cretaceous area, you actually see the really big dinosaurs. The really big dinosaurs. You actually get to see the skull of Carcharodontosaurus. I love looking at this skull. I think it's amazing. You can see the serrations in the teeth. Now, it's going to be in a glass box. So it's actually going to be in a glass box, and you can actually, when you actually look close to the teeth, you can see the serrations on the teeth, and you can see why it's named shark-toothed lizard. And it's just amazing what I think of this dinosaur. I think it's a great dinosaur to look at. And then you actually see a Spinosaur in this exhibit, and it's Suchomimus. It's not Spinosaurus, so it's actually just a relative of Spinosaurus called Suchomimus. And you can see the similarities between Spinosaurus and Suchomimus. They have almost the same skull. They have the same arms, almost the same body design, except that Suchomimus does not have the tall spines like Spinosaurus does. So it's actually a cool looking dinosaur, I would say. Then there are a couple of sauropods in this exhibit, and they're not really that big. They're just kind of like medium-sized sauropods, so they're not going to be that big. I don't know. I can't remember the one that I can't remember the first one I saw, and I can't remember the second one that I saw. But I think one of them is actually from either Africa or South America, and then the other one is from Madagascar, and so you get to see those kinds of dinosaurs. And also you actually get to see Ouranosaurus, which is like a kind of almost a cross between a hadrosaur and iguanodont, but it belongs in the iguanodont family. But it's amazing skeleton, tall spines for like having like a sail or like a big hump. So it's actually an amazing skeleton to look at. And of course, one of my favorite skeletons that were actually there that I wanted to see is Majungasaurus. And I just love looking at this skeleton. And even though it's going to be the ugliest dinosaur you'll actually ever see, even though some when you actually get into this exhibit, you can debate me about what is the ugliest dinosaur, but it's actually amazing to actually look at that skeleton. You can see the ugly skull, you can see the tiny arms of this thing, and it's just cool. And it's actually in this display, it is attacking a small size sauropod that was found in Madagascar. And also I forgot to mention another sauropod thing that I actually saw was actually a skull of a sauropod called Nigersaurus. Very small skull. I just love looking at the teeth because they're just basically right on the front, so they kind of look like incisors into some degree. But anyway, another dinosaur that's found in Madagascar is Masikosaurus, and it's a small dinosaur. It's a theropod, meat-eating dinosaur, and you can see it's a funny looking dinosaur because you see. Because in the front of the jaw, the bottom part and the front part of the jaw, they're actually sticking out. So the teeth are actually kind of pointing toward you if you were facing it head on. But it's not going to be nibbling at you that much. It's actually probably more of like a fish-eating dinosaur. So, but also you get to see some Argentina dinosaurs, like Amargasaurus. It's a weird looking sauropod, and I would tell you, I'm just amazed by that sauropod. I don't think it's not my favorite sauropod of all time, but hey, it's still cool looking. And then you get into some Australian dinosaurs that have been found. These are going to be mainly more recently discovered, so, but probably more like in the region of probably like say maybe like 5 to 10 years, so they're kind of like recently discovered. But you get to see Austroraptor, which is kind of like a medium-sized dinosaur. It's hard to categorize that dinosaur because you see there is some paleontologists debating whether or not it's really a dromaeosaur or was it like a different branch of dinosaur that it just evolved like in a different pattern. It has the same like toe claw of a dromaeosaur, but the skull pattern and the body design does not shout to me a dromaeosaur. It actually kind of almost looks like a cross between like a dromaeosaur and a spinosaur, and it's just kind of like weird looking. And you get to see another small raptor in that area. I think it's mainly found in Africa, but it's a interesting raptor. I think it's called Bustryraptor. I think it's called Bustryraptor. I'm kind of bad at pronouncing the name of this dinosaur. But then you also get to see a vertebrae of an Argentinosaurus. It's huge, and I'm telling you, it's huge. I'm actually taller than this thing, so because I'm 6'2", this thing is probably like pretty close to 6 feet tall. So it's pretty big. So it's amazing to look at. Then you actually get into an area where you actually see the giant carnivorous dinosaur found in Argentina is Giganotosaurus. It's the first time I've ever seen a Giganotosaur skeleton in my life, and I think it's just amazing to look at. And if you actually get to see this thing, you're just going to be in awe of the size of this thing, and the big skull, and the monstrous size of this thing. I did have myself in a picture with this thing, but I can't really show it, because otherwise I'm gonna cause a little. I would love to show it, but even though I'm mainly gonna show the skeletons. But even though they kind of make it go into a left turn, kind of makes you go into left field almost, where you kind of go into Laurasia. You go all the way to Laurasia dinosaurs at first, but there's only one Eurasian dinosaur featured in this exhibit. Found in North America, it's the king of the dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus Rex, my all-time favorite. And it's not as spectacular as Sue, but it's actually very good. It's a good-looking skeleton, to be honest with you. It's really cool. I would love to see Stan, though. Stan is going to be my next Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton that I need to see. This is kind of like probably almost like the American Museum of Natural History type of skeleton, so I can say it's pretty close in that area, but still good, cool looking. The skull is pretty good, skeleton's pretty good. I'd say it's just amazing, and that's pretty much the end of the exhibit, so it's pretty much how it's actually going to look like. And I would say this, if you ever have a chance, try to actually see dinosaurs alive. I actually have this IMAX movie. It's really good. It's a really good film, and it's just amazing what you can actually learn from of how paleontologists discovered some of these dinosaurs, and what some of the theories were, and what some of the hypotheses were of like how they behaved and all that kind of stuff. Now it's going to be a little bit dated. It was actually made like in I'd say 2000, probably between 2005 and 2008. So it's actually it's a dated information, but even though it's actually going to be, it's still good to actually see this film. It's just amazing. I got to see it in the Omni Theater, which is perfect for this film, because this film is made to be in an IMAX theater or otherwise in the Omni Theater, which is amazing. So. And if you ever get a chance to go to the Science Museum this spring or otherwise this summer, go to it. Go to see Ultimate Dinosaurs. I recommend it. It's just amazing to see this exhibit. All right, that's it for now. Now, next week's episode would actually be a special episode. So, considering that I did not get any questions this week for a regular episode, so this will be considered kind of an irregular episode. But I like to say I call this an extra, like an extra an extra episode for showing, like talking about exhibits that I've actually have got to see, and also dinosaur skeletons I've got to look at in a museum. So it's amazing detail. I'll probably show some pictures. If I can't get the pictures on this video, I would actually basically I'll just go out of my Facebook page. You can actually see the pictures there. It's pretty spectacular pictures, even though there's some pictures that are a little bit blurry, but I mean that's just me. I'm not a very good photographer, so but also, if you still have questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinocris71@gmail.com, and also you can actually post the questions in the comments section of a Facebook post on Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris Facebook page. Follow that, and I will keep those questions into mind. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. And hey, it's gonna be, and I post some pretty cool stuff on there. But anyway, make sure to take care of the people around you, and also for you younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education. If you have a good education, you'll get a really good job in the future. All right, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.